Two guys in the dark.
This story takes place around 2008 in Pasco County, Florida. I was 17, going to a GED program in Pasco High School. I did not care for many of the people at that school. I was in a classroom with around 10 other students, all under the age of 18. Every day I would get dropped off around 7 a.m. and wait for my class to start at around 8 to 8:30. My normal routine would be to walk around the school, find a place to hide while I smoked a cigarette, or just walked around the school with my friends that showed up before class. One day I was walking around after a cigarette. This rent-a-cop named McDougal drives up in his golf cart. McDougal had a huge belly and was probably about 5'9". Not sure how much he weighed, but his cart went from barely off the ground to 2 inches above the ground. Once he got out of his golf cart, McDougal smirks at me, saying that he saw me smoking in an area that I never was in. I explained to him that I never go over there, and that I'm just waiting for my GED class to start. After I told him that I was not there, McDougal demanded that I empty my pockets. At this point, I was pissed off, and told him to go eat another donut and mind his own fucking business. Suddenly he starts yelling at me, claiming that he is the law, forces my wallet and my phone out of my pocket. He starts patting my pockets just to reach in and pull out my cigarettes. McDougal then gets in his cart. He takes the cigarettes from me, and then he yells at me that it's illegal to smoke on school grounds, and that my camels are now his property. After a 5-minute scream match, I just walked away, wanting to get away from him before I punched this idiot. I turned the corner just to peek over, and there he is lighting up my cigarettes, and letting a girl in a cheerleader outfit jump into his golf cart. Standing there for a moment, I happened to see something that made my stomach turn. This guy had his hands up her skirt in broad daylight. I began to quickly grab my flip phone, take a picture before he drove away. Right as I take the picture, my buddy Steven shows up and asks me if I have a smoke. After I explain everything to him, Steven looks at me and says that McDougal is a nasty pedo and that I should go tell the principal. At the time, the principal of the school was Principal Reedy. "Yeah, man, I plan on it," I replied to him. We both walked down towards the office, watching for that nasty cop. We didn't want him knowing anything, so we just walked through that parking lot and around the building, trying to hide around the building corners until we reached the school's office. Once we reached the buildings on the other side of the school, we ran in, letting the lady at the front desk know that we have something important to inform Principal Reedy about. Of course, he wasn't in his office, so we sat there and waited for what seemed like hours. When Reedy finally showed up, both of us had walked in, immediately told him about McDougal and what he did. Reedy, of course, didn't look shocked, and asked if we had any kind of proof, at which point I pulled out my phone and showed him the picture of McDougal putting his hand up the girl's skirt. Reedy gives a look of disgust, hands me back my phone, and states, "I'll take care of this. Thank you for bringing this to my attention." As Steve and I had walked out of the office, I was looking for the picture that I took, then realized Principal Reedy had deleted that picture. I then began wondering what was really going to happen to that pedo cop, who happened to be wandering the halls of that school every single day. After leaving that office, Steve and I began to keep to ourselves, to keep away from the attention of the administration, especially McDougal. I finally got my GED, and I got away from that horrid school known as Pasco High. Unfortunately, McDougal still stayed at that school, tormenting the students that could be easily taken advantage of for 5 more years, until he had finally retired, leaving the students safe. Back in 2008, I had no job or anything really to do. I used to walk downtown with my friend Alan. Every night it would be the same routine. We get up around 5 p.m. to eat something. I take a shower. After I would let the dogs out, I would go and leave the house, meet up with Alan, who happened to live a mile down the road from me. We would either go see a friend of mine, James, and his wife, Majesta, or we would just walk around and enjoy the evening. As the night would turn into early morning like clockwork, we would always get pulled over by the local police. Usually it was an officer named Ronaldo or Adams, No matter where we went or what we did, they always stopped us and would claim that we were being suspicious. It was always the same thing. They would run over our IDs and waste our time for about 30 minutes or more. Then they would call up Alan's parents, because he was 16 at the time and I was 24. His mom would always yell at them about her knowing where her son would be and that he is with me, and to just stop calling her. One early morning, Adam pulls us over, and Ronaldo showed up and tried to frisk us because they swore that we had drugs on us. Alan decided to be a smartass. Told Adams that he wouldn't be stupid to carry any drugs on him. He knows people who deliver. That set off Adams, and they both admitted that they would find a reason to put us hoodlums away, no matter what it took. So the days went by. They kept doing this over and over again, always finding us like they were hunting us down. After about 3 weeks non-stop of this happening, I happened to hear a familiar voice over the radio. Officer Busey, who I had known for about a year at this point, yells at Adams. Busey tells Adams that he hears over the radio every single night that him and Ronaldo always harass me and Alan. They both obviously know that we are not doing anything or have any warrants, that they need to stop it, or he would go to the chief of police about it and have his badge taken away. Busey had explained that he will be at our location in 10 minutes. He expects an apology to both Alan and I. After Busey got there, he stood up to Adams and told him to just apologize now and let Ronaldo know that if he doesn't stop, the same will happen to him, that they need to just leave us alone because he is tired of them both bothering us. After everything was done, Adam drives off. We happen to thank Busey. Busey stood there and talked with us for almost an hour before he had a call and had to leave. Alan and I went back to his house and hung out for the rest of the night as we watched Adams pass by us multiple times throughout the morning. After a few hours of this, we parted ways. I went home never to deal with Ronaldo or Adams harassing me again. I do still deal with dirty looks from both of them, but they don't bother me anymore. Thank goodness for having a friend in the police force, because who knows what they would do to me. They would probably put me away for no reason, for all I know. Back in 2009, I would walk the streets at night. My friends and I would walk all around town and mind our business every single night. A couple of the cops would always harass us, and no matter where we went, they always would find us. One such cop was named Ronaldo. He stood about 6 foot tall, and by what I gathered, he'd weighed close to 250 pounds. He kind of had a beer gut. My best friend at the time was with me, and his name was Mikey. He stood about 6'5", skinny. He wore contacts that made his eyes look like a vampire. Ronaldo, along with Adams, always had messed with us and swore that we were selling drugs. They never left us alone. As the nights went on, the same routine. Pulls us over, asks us what we are doing, and then they would check our IDs. One night after Mikey had went home, I was walking back to my house to go to bed. As I'm turning the corner of one of the downtown buildings that is on the way home, I happen to spot Ronaldo. I see that he has someone pulled over. Me being the curious person that I was, I wanted to see what he was doing without being seen. I decided to hide by one of the sides of the buildings and listen in on their conversation. It went a little like this. "So I know you have drugs on you, boy. Hand over all of your weed and I will let you go." The guy looks at him and says, "Man, are you hustling me? You know this is how I make my bread." Ronaldo replies, "It's that, or I take you to jail, and take it anyways. Or you can just save me the paperwork, and you the jail time. It's all your call." The guy hands him off a bag of weed, tells Ronaldo that he's tired of him doing this shit, and then he runs off. Before I do anything else, Ronaldo gets on the phone and happens to make a phone call. All I hear him say is, "Adams, I got some more. You want to meet at my place after work?" After a few seconds of the conversation going on, I hear Ronaldo say, "Okay, I'll see you later at my house after work so that we can smoke." After a few moments, I see the cop car fly past me. I decide now is the right time to continue on my way home. After I get there, I make a call to my buddy Alan and explain to him what I saw. We talk for a little while, and he lets me know to tell the chief of police the very next day. We both agreed that we should go together at around 10 a.m. to the station. 9 a.m. rolls around, and Alan happens to be at my door. I was ready earlier and waited on him to show up. We both set out our walk to the station that was about 45 minutes from my house. Once we got there, I left the front desk and let them know that I needed to talk with the chief, and she had me wait in the lobby for the chief to come out. After waiting for what seemed like forever, the chief finally comes out, brings us both inside of his office. I explained everything that I heard and saw Ronaldo do that night before. He did not seem to care what I had to say. I was told that they wanted a statement from me, but that's all that they would do. Alan chimes in with, "What about random drug tests for both of them?" As I'm filing the reports, all we hear is some excuse as to why he can't test his two oldest officers. Then as soon as I am done, we get pushed out the door, and I feel like it's all a conspiracy to keep Ronaldo and Adams from getting in trouble. After everything was done, we both just started walking home. We were trying to figure out why we were ignored like that. Eventually, we just gave up trying and started doing our normal routine instead of going home. We walked around town and then headed over to a friend's house, and we hung out there for the entire day.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.